The scream that shattered the morning calm at 7:15 on a crisp Tuesday in Meadowview Estates will stay with me forever. I was sipping my coffee, the steam curling up from the mug, when a sound of raw fury mixed with effort erupted from my front yard. I rushed to the window, heart pounding, and what I saw stopped me cold. Margaret Hensley, the iron-fisted president of our homeowners association, was perched on my roof, her face a mask of rage, wielding a crowbar like a weapon. Her neatly styled silver hair whipped in the breeze as she attacked my satellite dish with ferocious determination, muttering, "Ugly junk. Not in my neighborhood." The metal screeched as she tore it free, reducing weeks of careful calibration to a twisted heap. With a triumphant grunt, she hurled it into a trash bin she'd dragged to my driveway, the crash echoing like a thunderclap through our quiet suburban street. Dusting her hands, she climbed down and strutted off, oblivious to the storm she'd just unleashed. My name is Daniel Harper, a 52-year-old aerospace engineer who moved to Meadowview Estates 6 months ago for its peaceful streets and affordable homes, perfect for a guy who values solitude and a clear view of the stars. My work involves atmospheric research, crunching complex data for projects tied to national scientific efforts. The last thing I expected was a neighborhood war over a satellite dish. That dish wasn't for catching football games. It was a high-tech atmospheric monitoring station, part of a NASA research network tracking climate shifts and space weather. It fed real-time data to scientists studying everything from ozone depletion to solar storms that could knock out power grids. I'd followed every rule: city permits, HOA guidelines, professional installation, placing it discreetly on my roof's back corner, barely visible from the street. But Margaret Hensley had other plans. Within days of the installation, Margaret showed up at my door, clipboard in hand, her HOA badge gleaming like a sheriff's star. "Mr. Harper," she snapped, "that eyesore on your roof has to go." I tried reasoning with her, showing her permits, a contractor's certificate, even a letter from my employer verifying the dish's purpose. She waved them away like they were junk mail. "I don't care what some city clerk stamped," she said, voice sharp enough to cut glass. "This is my community, and I say what goes." Her logic was as flimsy as her authority, but Margaret didn't operate on reason. She saw her HOA presidency as a crown, granting her unchecked power over our cul-de-sacs. What followed was a relentless campaign of harassment. Official-looking HOA letters arrived weekly, demanding I remove unauthorized structures or face fines and lawsuits. She rallied her board cronies, who nodded along to avoid her wrath. Margaret's reputation for making life hell was legendary across her, and you'd regret it. She organized emergency meetings to vilify my dish and sent lackeys to photograph my house daily, sometimes peering into my windows. When I confronted her, she claimed it was all legal, standing on the sidewalk like a general inspecting her territory. I offered compromises: camouflage netting, a low-profile screen, but she wasn't interested. "Government spy gear," she spat during one heated exchange, her eyes wild with paranoia. "You're probably recording us all for Washington." No explanation could pierce her conspiracy-fueled crusade. The breaking point came on a Thursday when I was at work. Margaret, ever calculating, had studied my routine and struck when I was gone. Armed with a ladder and crowbar, she climbed my roof like a vigilante on a mission. My neighbor, Mr. Thompson, a retired veteran, watched it all from his kitchen window. He later told me she'd cased my house twice before setting up her ladder, then attacked the dish with surgical precision. It was bolted to withstand hurricanes, but Margaret's fury was a force of nature. She pried and twisted until it broke free, dragging it to the roof's edge and tossing it into her trash bin with a smirk of victory. I came home to find my driveway blocked by her bin, the dish lying in ruins among coffee grounds and lawn clippings. My phone was buzzing with missed calls from NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center. The network had detected a signal loss at 11:43 a.m., triggering alarms across the system. An email marked "Urgent" chilled me. "Security breach in atmospheric research network. Immediate response required." The dish was a critical node, and its sudden silence raised fears of sabotage. I called the emergency line and spoke to Agent Laura Mitchell, whose calm but firm tone made it clear this was no small matter. I described Margaret's campaign and the wreckage in my driveway. "Mr. Harper," she said, "this is now a federal issue. You're describing the destruction of government property. The next morning, two black SUVs rolled into Meadowview, their federal plates turning heads. Agent Mitchell led a team that photographed the wreckage and interviewed neighbors. Margaret emerged from her colonial-style home, her usual swagger faltering as she saw the agents. "I'm the HOA president," she declared, voice trembling. "I demand to know what's happening." Agent Mitchell's reply was ice-cold. "Ma'am, we're investigating the destruction of federal research equipment. We'd like to speak with you." Margaret's face drained of color, her authority crumbling under the weight of real power. The evidence was damning. Mr. Thompson provided a detailed account of Margaret's rooftop rampage, down to the minute. Better yet, Mrs. Larson, 2 doors down, had ring camera footage capturing the entire incident in crystal-clear HD. Margaret climbing my roof, crowbar swinging, muttering about government junk as she trashed the dish. Agent Mitchell reviewed the video with a prosecutor's focus, and the case was airtight. Margaret's defense that she had the right as HOA president to remove unesthetic equipment fell apart when Agent Mitchell explained the dish's role in federally funded research. "You've damaged taxpayer property and disrupted national science," she said. "This isn't about your HOA rules." Margaret's downfall was swift. NASA's Office of the Inspector General sent her a cease and desist order and a civil suit demanding compensation for the $30,000 dish, lost data, and investigation costs. Worse, she faced potential criminal charges for vandalism and interfering with federal research. Her HOA allies scattered, unwilling to be tainted by her mess. The board held an emergency meeting, and Margaret's resignation followed days later, citing personal reasons. But everyone knew the truth. Her reign was over. The neighborhood watched as federal technicians reinstalled a new, fortified dish on my roof, under Margaret's humiliated supervision. The upgraded system had tamper-proof seals and motion sensors, a silent warning to would-be vandals. Meadowview transformed without her iron grip. Gardens sprouted, homes got quirky paint jobs, and the HOA, now led by Mr. Thompson, embraced transparency with open meetings and clear rules. NASA even mailed every resident a pamphlet explaining the dish's role in climate and space research, ending with a pointed note: "If you see something, don't destroy it. Call us." Margaret became a cautionary tale, her name synonymous with HOA tyranny. Local news ran stories about her clash with NASA, and social media buzzed with neighbors' tales of her past abuses, finding bird feeders, banning gardens, even opening residents' mail to sniff out violations. Her house, once her fortress, sat unsold, its value tanked by her notoriety. Every night, the new dish's security lights cast a glow across her windows, a constant reminder of her folly. The data from my station, I later learned, was vital during a rare solar storm the day Margaret struck. Its loss created a gap in research protecting astronauts and satellites, making her actions not just petty but reckless. Yet, in a twist, that gap became a case study for scientists, proving the need for continuous monitoring. My dish still hums along, tracking atmospheric shifts that safeguard our planet. Margaret, now a pariah, learned the hard way that science and law outweigh a clipboard and a grudge. What do you think about Margaret's actions and the fallout? Have you ever faced injustice or abuse of power in your community? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's discuss how we confront bullying and stand up for what's right.